Warrior Tough, Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
All right, we're back at it. Most monumental hour in media anywhere. We're down to the last half hour. Buckle up. It's fixing to get really real. Andrew and Dutch and Andrew. Join the conversation. Use the hashtag #GetWarriorTough on the Twitter. Dutch is at the Dutch Coleman. I'm at Warrior Tough PhD. You can call the office if you have questions about this stuff. 864-977-1443. All right. So, Dutch, before the break, you were talking about there's always, I used the Qui-Gon Jinn line from Star Wars, there's always a bigger fish, right? But if you have that external, there's always going to be somebody bigger than you. There's always going to be somebody faster than you. There's always going to be somebody prettier than you. There's always going to be somebody smarter than you. That's why I don't set myself up with those externals, because I know there's always going to be somebody faster that shoots better, that drives, or, that can hit harder. And I was thinking, when you were talking about that, I was thinking of the example of Ronda Rousey, who she was undefeated, and then she was on the Ellen show, and she said, you know what, at that moment that she was knocked out or she was defeated, and she didn't know, her identity was completely gone. It was just completely unprepared, and she had thoughts of suicide at that moment.
Which is very real. First of all,
yeah.
Ronda Rousey isn't the first person
to have that, and won't be the last either.
Will not be the last. Some of you listening may have gone through this at some point in your life, but it's sad from the standpoint of that you're ready to end it all for that one aspect, for that one part of you, which is such a small part of you. I'm sure she had relationships, she had family members, she had different experiences, she had all these things. And she was able to. She was willing, or even considered ending it, based on that. So it lets you know how critical the identity is.
Yeah, and it's so, and when it's external, it's just so dangerous. And even at so kids start to grab an identity. If you don't teach them to have an internal identity, one that is based on internal strengths like integrity and honor,
love,
work ethics, all the excellence, those things, right? And I see it in school, like, so, my boys were wrestlers in high school, and the coach would be like, always pushing them to make wrestling their identity. You need to be a wrestler. That needs to be your identity. I'm like, no, it don't. Because that dude's 26, broke down almost in a wheelchair because that's his identity, so he can't stop, even though he can hardly even walk anymore. And he's all injured up, and he can't stop. And I see this with guys who are triathletes, like Ironman and, marathoners and CrossFitters and on, that these external things are their identity. I see it with SEALs and Rangers and Marines all the time, where unless I could do 100 pull-ups or run 100 miles or, literally 100 miles in the desert or, then they're not there, and they struggle with it as they get older because it goes away. Your body can't keep doing that.
Absolutely. With respect to your identity, it has to be built on root items, items that can't be broken down any further. Love is a root word.
Right.
There's nothing. There's no other level down that you can take love. Right. Integrity. Right.
It either is or it ain't.
Yeah. You're not.
Commitment.
Love never fails.
Right.
Love never fails. Integrity, high character. These things are things that if you maintain these things, there's not going to come a day where it's going to come falling down. Or again, if I'm popular because I'm the fast kid, there's going to be a day when I'm not going to be the fastest kid. If it's because I look better than everyone, there's going to be a day where I'm not going to look. These things are coming. When my identity is based on love, as long as I love people, there's not a day where that's going to end. There's not something that, that's not going to come crumbling down. Practicing a high level of integrity, right? That's not something that's going to come back and bite you in the butt. Hey, man, you were just too good of a person.
Yeah,
like you should be mean to people. Like, no, that's not. So when you think about root words, and I love that because when we talk about root words, we're talking about like origin, right?
Yep.
Those type of words where it can't be broken down. If it's based in that, then you're fine. That's what it needs to be. You need to be, and those are all internal things. It's not about a job, because if you name a job, there's still another level. There's the levels below that. I'm a teacher. Well, you're also a mom. You're also a cousin. You're also an aunt. You're a sister.
Right.
So you're all these other things. So your job is not a root.
No, it's a role.
It's a role.
So
Absolutely.
is being a mom. Mom's being a role. Being a husband's a role.
Absolutely.
You know, and across all those roles, I'm a man of excellence who always keeps his word. Across all those roles, you're a man of God who always loves people, right? So this is what we're
man of
talking.
excellence. Man of excellence doesn't end.
No,
that's
never.
not something where it's a matter of time. You're a man of excellence that can endure. It's everlasting, right?
Right. Well, as a father, as a husband, as a CEO, as your business partner, as a coach, in any role that I play, I'm a man of excellence.
No matter how slow you get, no matter how old you get,
right.
no matter how anything, you're a man of excellence.
That's right. Boom, done. And that decision has been made, so all the choices are easy, as you like to say.
Absolutely.
Because I made the decision that I'm a man of excellence. Now I don't have to question, should I do something or not do something? Should I call in sick today?
It has to line up with your decision. If it doesn't line up with your decision,
Then no.
the choice has already been made.
Right. I mean, so this is what you should be teaching your kids. All right, so here's like 6 things, because we don't want to just say, this is what you should do without telling you some how-to. So we want to give you some steps to walk down. When you're talking to even the 2-year-old, because how low can you go? This starts when they're 2 years old, right? Rethink discipline. Consider discipline a teaching opportunity, a teachable moment, which you and I had talked about at the beginning of the show. We take the emotion out of it. When you discipline, it ain't about just you losing, you're mad so you beat them or you take away the Xbox because they're not doing what you like them to do. They didn't learn anything about that except how to push your buttons and get you cranked up.
Absolutely.
So rethink your discipline and look at it as a teaching moment. Use it in, instead of, go flying off the handle and expressing how, that's awful and you can't do that, then, ask them, hey, look, how do you think if you could do this over, would you do it differently and how?
And you'd be amazed that these young people have the answer. They have the answer. You just have to prompt them. You have to teach them. You have to give them the opportunities to practice it, because my children surprise me when I ask, and I'm thinking about my 5-year-old Jasmine. I can hear her, and I'm asking her these questions, and she answers them. And on the one hand, I catch myself getting a little upset because I'm like, it's okay. So she knew what she did, but I have to catch myself and say, maybe she didn't know. Maybe she knows now because I asked a question.
And she thought about it, but at the time,
yeah.
How many times do adults just do stuff without thinking about it? All the time. In fact, 11 million bits to the 126, right? So we take in 11 million bits of information per second. Only 126 go to our conscious mind for action. So I know how the human machine works. 99% of all the stuff that you do, you didn't even think about. You're doing it without thinking about it. So get off your kid's back, man.
So and so even myself. So I learn as this goes. I can hear myself now, and I can hear my child. So when I say that, it's not that, see, she knew, or see, he knew he was wrong. You prompted them. So maybe the next time you can say he or she knew they were wrong, or better yet, how about the 3rd or 4th time they knew they were, because it takes us adults more than 3 or 4 times sometime to get it right.
Some of us ain't never get it right.
I know I'm in the neighborhood. I know somebody's listening. I'm in the neighborhood, because I'm in my own neighborhood, and I'm getting better at this myself as I speak about it. So give them that 3rd or 4th chance, not the 3rd or 4th chance to continue being wrong, but for you to go to the point where you go, they knew better. Well, they're learning to know better. They're knowing better. They're getting better each time because you're causing them to practice.
Right.
You're causing them to think. You're giving them those mental reps. And at some point, you're going to come to the conclusion that they knew better. But how about you give them a few rounds of reps? How many, a few different times to practice this? Then you can determine, because many of us, including myself, have said in the past, they knew they were wrong. Again, did they know they were wrong, or did you prompt them and make them think about it, and they realized they were wrong?
Right.
Give them some space.
So for some of us, it's not even rethinking discipline. It's just having a thought process and even thinking about discipline instead of just flying off the handle. And like like my dad, he could get his belt unbuckled with one hand and off, and in one swell swoop, that thing was on my hind end.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I get my 12-year-old all the time. I say, when she's getting on her brothers and sisters, and I'll say, what do you do? Well, they weren't listening to what I said. Okay, do you listen to what Daddy says? Well, not all the time.
Why you got to go there, man?
Yeah, not all the time. Okay, so you're 12, and you're asking for a 6-year-old to listen to what you say all the time when you're 12 and you don't listen to what I say all the time. So you think you can give them some space and give them another chance and work with them?
Yeah.
And then she says yes. because, it's convicting her that she knows if it's difficult for a 12-year-old to be perfect, then it's certainly more difficult for someone half her age.
Right, you'd think, right? Okay, so the next thing is to practice what they say is mind reading. And people like, when I first saw that, I'm like, practice mind reading. This is what mind reading, I've seen it from your perspective. So they say that games like chess, checkers, and cards build social skills by teaching kids how to understand what another person is thinking and to be able to predict what they'll do next. So when you have these interactions in these games, and that's why these games are kind of like controlled combat, right? Just like sports, it's controlled combat. And inside the game, if I know that somebody's going to fly, so I'm playing a game and I know they're always going to throw the chessboard and say, you cheated when, they're losing. When someone shows you who they are, believe them, right? So why would I expect them, if that's what they do when we play these games, why would I expect them not to do that in real life? And see, this will help your kids, because when they're around somebody that and listen, adults, no kidding, right? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When somebody backstabs you, steals from you, understand they're going to do it again. And we were talking about this on a coaching call. Say a family member borrows money and they don't pay it back. Then they come back and ask for more money. What do I do? Well, if you give them the money, then give them the money and expect them to pay it back, because they already showed you that they ain't paying it back. So if you want to give them the money, just say, I'm giving it to you. I'm not lending it to you.
Or you can lend them the money, because what happens is you're lending them the money. You're giving them an opportunity to make up for that, because maybe that's what they need. Maybe this time they need to pay it.
But don't be surprised if they don't.
You can't be mad if they don't. So, and I've done this with relatives in the past where I may give them a second chance because maybe this is where they want to make amends. They want to prove to me that they can do it this time. And I've had someone pay me what they owe me and the last thing, what they owe me, because they wanted that opportunity again. And I've had people that I've given a second chance to, and they didn't get a third chance. But there were also others who got a third chance where I made the conscious decision to help them. And I knew, like you said, that I was probably not going to get that money back, but I wasn't going into that situation blind. Shame on me if I expected it.
And that's the whole thing. Understand how other people act in certain situations. Now, there's certain family members of mine, I don't watch sports with them. I ain't watching sports with you because you're going to be throwing the clicker and you're going and you're screaming and yelling. About what, dude? About what? How is that helping you in your career? How is that helping you in your marriage? It certainly ain't helping you in your family relationships, because I won't even sit on the couch and watch football with you or baseball or basketball or anything, because they've already showed me who they were. So I'm practicing that mind reading. I understand from their perspective that you're upset, so I'm not going to get in that space with you because you showed me who you were. And it'll help kids understand that. So that fake popular kid, the mean kid that's popular because they're pretty or whatever, but they're mean and manipulative and bullies. When they showed me who they were, I know I don't need you in my space, which allows me to move myself over into the sociometric popular kid, the one with character and credibility, and integrity, and be in that space. All right. Number 3, build conversational skills. Good language skills allow you to better express your feelings. Duh, right? And also decipher what someone else is saying. Dutch, in our language, we call it distinguishing fact from truth.
And we have to. That's not something that is always natural, because that's something that's steeped in emotion. And especially for a child, you want them to have the ability and the space to express themselves, to display that emotion. But we're gradually teaching them how to not only understand their emotions, but how to control their emotions, when to deploy them, when to use them, and not to be dominated by their emotions. So you don't want to strip them of being emotional, but you want to give them the tools, equip them with the ability to manage their emotions. So don't stifle that. Don't stifle the emotions. We just have to give them the skill set to manage their emotions.
Absolutely. And the word manage just means to be in charge or to be in control. So I'm going to be in charge of my emotions. They're not going to be in charge of me, which is a huge deal. And understand, this whole thing about language is a really big deal. We're up on a break. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit about language and choosing different words and what that really does mean. It is really a huge deal, and I'll demonstrate that when we get back.